Good evening, my friends. I have 24 empty chairs up here at the front. Make your way to the front. Good evening, EDCO PubTalk. How are you? My friends, I have 24 empty seats right up here in the front. So for those of you bottlenecking in the back, make your way to the front. It's so nice to see you all tonight. You're obviously in a very good mood. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, here we go. I still have plenty of open seats. Paul Evers. My friends, welcome to PubTalk. I do not like looking at empty seats. So if you're in the back, thank you. I appreciate the support. If you're standing in the back, if you're in the door, you're leaning up against the bar, come on up, be a little closer to us. We have excellent speakers tonight. Very friendly people taking the stage. So good to see you all. So summer has arrived for the three of you that are paying attention. And we have 3 seats right here. Are y'all happy that it's summertime? Hi, Morgan. I want front row. I want butts and seats. Hello, Todd. Hello, Kim. Thank you for following directions. Welcome to PubTalk. Summer's finally here. What do you think? How do you feel about it? Good? 3 of you are excited. We do need to talk about one thing. The honking at the Reed Market roundabout is out of control. This is your official PSA. Stop honking at the Reed Market roundabout. The birds are crapping themselves. The trees are having panic attacks. It's created a hostile work environment for the rock chucks. Enough with the honking. It's rude. Thank you very much, and hopefully you're flirting as you use your turn signal, your exiting turn signal. I'm so happy to be here. Special thanks to the team at Silver Moon Brewing for letting us have another PubTalk takeover. And thanks to Chicken Strut for providing the food spread next door at the check-in room. Thanks to Hand in Hand Production, the program is also streaming live out on big screens of people at home all over the region. I'm able to post PubTalk tonight thanks to our MC sponsor, OSU Cascades. All right. Y'all are here now. Great. Cool. June 12th marked another milestone for OSU Cascades, the first on-campus commencement. It's a big deal. While OSU Cascades moved to its own campus in 2016, the grounds weren't sufficiently developed to hold graduation until this year. This class is a special group of students. Through the height of the pandemic, they've learned to adapt and become tenacious. It will be exciting to watch what they accomplish for our companies, organizations, and our community. Congrats to the class of 2022. So we're going to kick tonight off by welcoming no longer interim, but full-on CEO, John Stark. Get on up here, John.
Well, do I have a coat to take off or something like that? The interim coat? Hey, glad you guys are all here tonight. What about, it's summer, it's finally here. How about a round of applause? It feels good outside, doesn't it? And it's summer and you're all here in a room. That's an accomplishment. I'm glad you guys are all here tonight. How about some results? So the last couple of months I've been talking about changes in staff, some hiring. We'll have a little bit of that tonight, but tonight my remarks are really about some results. So we just concluded, June 30th, 3 years of strategic planning, and that work is largely around helping companies move, start, grow here in Central Oregon. And over the last 3 years, we're kind of finishing out that 3-year strategic planning program with 106 projects that we did over those 3 years. Now, what's a project? That's when a company does start here, hits a major milestone, or they find funding, which can be a major milestone, which we love to see, or a company builds a building, moves into it, has a large expansion, adds equipment. That's a project. 106, 3 years. Job counts for those actual 661 jobs. Central Oregon jobs. Projected jobs, 1,117. Why do you think that they were projected and the actual were so much lower? Gee, maybe they had trouble finding some employees. So we know those numbers would be much higher in a different environment. Capital investment, same thing, $163 million over those 106 projects. And projected is about $372 million. Why might that be? Because there's a bunch of equipment sitting on ships somewhere else in the world that's left to get here. Oh, and by the way, some of these companies are phasing in, right? So they do a project, and it's going to take them a couple of years to get to the pinnacle of that project. So they may build a building, they may have additional TIs to that building, they may add additional equipment. It's a 3-year ramp up, so it'll take them a while to get to those capital investments. Pipeline, so what does the future look like? Pipeline, there's 149 projects in the pipeline. If they all came to fruition, about 1,700 jobs and over $1.5 billion worth of capital investment. They don't all come true. Each year we convert somewhere between 20 and 50% of those to done deals. So that happens over the time, and there are delays. A lot of the companies in that pipeline today have been delayed. Construction delays, material delays, time to get permits. Anybody tried to draw a permit with all the housing going on for a commercial building these days? Not easy. So again, the pipeline's robust. We've had a great 3-year run. Really excited about what the future holds. So just happy to have your support in working through those projects and making them a reality. Okay, on to other things. So we have a thing called BVC coming up, Ben Venture Conference. That's October. Applications, we'll have a notice for applications, but if you know anybody that might be a good candidate as a company to get on stage at BVC, have them come see Deanne. Check in with her. You don't have to wait for the application process, so let's make sure you come in and check in. And in the last order of business, I just want to take an opportunity to thank a 5-year investment by Heidi Hausner, who's moving into a new career. She invested 5 years with us as our membership director. She had a tremendous career opportunity placed in front of her. And I just want to make sure and just tell Heidi, thank you from the bottom of my heart for your time, your investment, and the things you brought to the table for EDCO, and that your work family here at EDCO wishes you the best in your new career. So let's give a round of applause for Heidi. And then lastly, if you know a good membership director, it's posted at Mid-Oregon Personnel Services. So that's all I got tonight, Shannon. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, John. Hey, give me that mic back. I put the force field on you, John. Thanks, John. Those are big, big, big announcements. All right, so we are able to host PubTalk tonight, both in person and virtually, thanks to our generous event sponsors. First up, I missed you last month, Kurt Barker, partner at Best & Krieger. Come on up, Kurt.
Before I turn this on, do the rock chicks need an anti-harassment lawyer?
No, they need your help. They need your help, Kurt.
I know a guy.
It's getting ugly.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Gosh, EDCO, thank you for the incredible programming. The lineup tonight is awesome. So I don't want to pick favorites. I just will share maybe a special soft spot for the good folks at Deschutes Brewery. They've been a client of Carnett Peterson. Now Best & Krieger for a long time, and we just admire the heck out of Gary. Love working with him and his crew, and can't thank them enough for all they've done for the community. So let's give away some money to Deschutes Brewery tonight, shall we? I've got $100. You can take it right down to the pub. And in case, I think my law partners had to fill in for me for a couple months. In case you're rusty, the routine is I ask a trivia question when I wrap. First person who emails me the answer gets $100, and you can actually pick it up from me here tonight. So first, just a quick story. Since I haven't been here for a while, I get asked what I do. I tell people I've been defending employers in court since 2001. But then I usually like to add, my real work passion is proactively working with clients, giving them good advice and keeping them out of the courtroom. I totally failed this week. We went to trial. So I went to trial this week. We actually, we just found out this afternoon that we won. So this is what happy lawyer looks like. Feeling good about that. I thought I'd share with you just the context, though, because it really does impact business here in town. For context, do y'all know how many civil jury, and that means, or civil non-criminal, jury trials took place during the pandemic, just down the block at Deschutes County? Any idea? 0. Exactly right. So underfunded and overstretched with urgent criminal, juvenile dependency, et cetera. You're a business, you're trapped in civil litigation, you might just literally be trapped for a while. Now we are finally seeing that tide shift. I was in the courthouse in trial today for the first time since before 2020. So we're seeing that tide turn. It's just a good bit of news. So why don't you email me, kurt.barker@bbklaw.com. Just name 2 out of the, please put this in the subject line, by the way. 2 out of the 3 first beers Deschutes launched. 2 out of the 3 first flagships. We're going back to, 88 here? You can do it. Thanks. I'll come announce the winner in a minute.
Thanks, Kurt. Kurt.barker@bbklaw.com. Sounds like y'all are familiar with Deschutes beer. Shocking. I want to give it away so bad. My first beer when I turned 21 was a Deschutes beer. I know, special. I know. Up next, Skylar Bush, AVP Commercial Relationship Manager, Columbia Bank. Skylar, what do you got for us this time? I hope you brought jokes. No pressure. Just one? That's all we need.
Okay. Skylar Bush with Columbia Bank. One quick announcement. Columbia Bank's merger is set for August 1st with Umpqua Bank, legal day 1. Forward to that. So we'll see some sign changes. Columbia Bank, glad to be a sponsor of PubTalk, and my favorite part of being at PubTalk is watching these smaller businesses, and I try to imagine what they're going to look like in 10, 20 years. Are they going to be like a Deschutes or a Boneyard? And I love watching the more tenured companies intermingle with the younger companies, so there's some good knowledge that gets passed on. And then I always have at least one joke, but I learned recently that you're actually pretty skilled at it, so now I'm nervous. But mine's are just dad jokes. This is from my my son told me this one this week, and it's kind of relevant because my younger brother, is a clown, and so my son told me this joke. But he said, "What do you do? What's the best thing to do if you're getting attacked by clowns?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Go for the juggler." So.
And his uncle is a clown. Wow. Wow. Ruthless. Are you ready? Okay, come on back up.
Lots of good answers here. Some of them added Mirror Pond, which I believe is incorrect. But Carrie Wittershine, you correctly identified Cascade Golden Ale, Black Butte Porter, and don't forget Bachelor Bitter.
Congratulations, Carrie. You're going to Deschutes. Can y'all hear me okay? I feel like I'm down a long hallway made of metal. Something is it just me? Am I stroking out? Keep an eye on me tonight. All right, special thanks to returning sponsors, Providence Health Plan and VLOC Systems. And thank you, Kurt, for bringing us gifts. It's so much fun. Thanks for the extra love for the PubTalk attendees, Kurt, and for supporting our local businesses in all the ways that you do. Virtual attendees, listen up. I hope you're sipping on something cold from home while tuning in. Maybe you're out on the patio. On the right side of your screen, you'll find a chat bar. So you can just type your questions, your comments in there. They'll find their way to me. We love your support and your participation, so thanks for being here. And for those of you here at Silver Moon, you just raise your hand. Just raise your hand. Thank you. Very nicely done. Paul Evers, very good. Okay, on to tonight's companies. The company update tonight is provided by supporting sponsors Sensiba San Filippo. SGA has merged with Sensiba San Filippo. Merging with a larger firm increased resources for our clients and staff beyond our current capacity. As a B Corp, we are passionate about sustainable, purposeful business and have a team that can help your business do the same. Reach out to Amber Yates for more details, and BBSI, whose team would like to sincerely thank everyone here at PubTalk for putting on the event. It's highly energizing to be here every month hanging out with the cool kids. Am I the cool kids? That can't be right. That can't be right. Thanks, Rob. BBSI Central Oregon has a full team of seasoned professionals offering tactical and strategic payroll, HR and recruiting, risk and safety, and business consulting services that help business owners stay focused on growing and developing their businesses. We've been here for over 20 years and are ready to help you when you need us. Happy summer from your Central Oregon BBSI team. Next up, I'm so excited. Power couple, Savana and Wes Watts, founders of Tiny Watts. New to Central Oregon, they specialize in premium plug-and-play electrical power centers and solar kits for the adventure vehicle market. In the last 5 years, Tiny Watts has designed and built high-powered electrical systems and walkable solar roof deck kits. Backed by an electrical engineering degree and ABYC Marine Electrical certification, Tiny Watts focuses on quality and reliability to give you off-grid solar freedom anywhere you go. Anywhere, Wes and Savannah, anywhere, come on up, tell us more. I need the scoop. Either one.
Is it on?
Hello. Oh, it's on.
Okay, use this one, Wes.
Okay, I'm counting.
He's got the big book.
Hello. So red is my natural color. I'm not blushing right now. I'm not embarrassed at all. I'm just sunburnt. So thank you all for being here. Gotta get used to this. Thanks for the lovely introduction. We're the power couple. My name is Wes Watts.
And I'm Savannah Watts, and we are the founders of Tiny Watts.
So Tiny Watts is a electrical company, and we build off-grid solar kits for the van conversion market, mostly. However, this time last year, we were testing one of our kits for a marine application in one of the most remote parts of the world, the middle of the ocean, literally 1,000 miles from any land. And we're gonna tell you a little bit about how we got there and what we're doing here in Central Oregon.
Yeah, so it all started 5 years ago. Wes and I were both going to school, and Wes was getting his electrical engineering degree, and I was getting tired of paying rent. So I had the idea of selling all of our stuff and moving into a van.
And I love my wife. It was her idea. She actually grew up on a sailboat, so was a little biased to small, unusual alternative living.
Yep.
However, it was her idea. And that being said, I was going to school, getting my electrical engineering degree with a focus on renewable energy. And so, of course, we had a passion for solar and had to put solar panels on our van that we were moving into, and found that there was really a lack of information online, and more importantly, some really sketchy stuff that we were seeing. So even with the little bit of knowledge we had, we knew that, what we were seeing was bad.
Yeah, so we went to Tiny House Conference in Portland, and there was probably 10 plus tiny homes just running off gas loud generators. And Wes and I were literally the only ones with off-grid solar power. And we looked at each other and said, this is not right. We need to figure something out. We need to help these people.
Yeah, so that kind of furthermore showed us that there was more people with this need than just us, then an entire industry was missing the point. And so we really felt like we could help, and we wanted to start a company with the goal to make it easier, simpler, and more importantly, safer for people to go off-grid and adventure.
Yeah, so we took that big next step and quit our corporate jobs. We had the full send attitude, had a one paycheck, bootstrap tiny watts, posted it on Instagram, and we're like, okay, this is what we do, this is who we are, hit us up. And we got our first project, and basically the rest is history.
Yeah, head of marketing over here, Savana, posted that Instagram, and we stayed alive. So we got a project in a driveway. We drop shipped components to the client's house, and we did the full electrical overhaul. Why does that happen? I don't know. What did I do? Last name's Watts, so there's a lot of electrical
there's a lot of
things
electrical
happening
stuff going on here.
But anyways, that turned into like 2 years of immersed R&D. We were living in our van with one of our very own systems, testing it, using it, understanding its limitations, and going around doing custom project after custom project. Every time iterating, making improvements, and we found that that demand was increasing, and we really needed to develop something that was scalable. And so we wanted to make power systems where we do all the hard stuff for you. Shipping components to people with a wiring diagram just gets lost. So we'll put all this stuff together, we'll do all the hard things, we'll size the wire, we'll do the circuit breakers, and now we have a DIY. Whoa.
To live.
So we make DIY-friendly, plug-and-play, turnkey power solutions.
So you gotta have solar to have power centers, right? So Wes and I, we created a solar storage roof box because, as you can imagine, there's not a lot of storage in a van, right? And so all these people have these storage roof boxes on the roof, but there's no room for solar. So we came up with the idea of designing a 500-watt solar panel integrated into a storage box that we built ourselves. Carbon fiber, fiberglass, you name it, super custom, no one has it. You get storage and you get solar. It's kind of a win-win.
They say that necessity is the mother of invention. My surfboards in Savannah's shower was not
in my
cutting it.
bathroom.
So we had to put those up on the roof, and we needed to maintain solar. So yeah, like Savannah said, we have roof products, we have solar kits, and we have power systems. And I think furthermore, to kind of explain the size of these systems, these are high-powered systems. We're running air conditioning. We're running all modern-day appliances, induction cooktops, toaster ovens, Vitamix blenders. We've done a food truck. We did a mobile video production unit that's filming Netflix documentaries in the middle of nowhere because they don't have to run a generator. So these are high-powered systems.
Yeah, we basically built and designed these systems to take you wherever you want and have the comforts of home when you get there. I mean, ladies, you can power your hair dryer. What? Ice cold beers, you can blend your margaritas. I mean, we built these systems to have solar freedom.
Yep, and a few other things that set us apart from the competition, because we're not the only ones building power kits for vans, but I think above all else is our credential. As you mentioned, electrical engineering degree, but really this industry was the Wild West. There was no rules. There was no electrical code like there is in your home to follow. So we went to the highest standard, which is the marine standard for electrical systems because of the harsh environment. And we build all of our systems to the ABYC marine spec, which is what the military uses. I'm ABYC certified. Our lead technician is ABYC certified. But that's just the paperwork, right? Our stuff's quality. We don't cut corners. We use all the top-notch components, all the touch screens, all the internet connectivity, the nicest components that allow us to give you the most reliable, high-end electrical system to take wherever you want to go.
So you're probably wondering how we ended up in the middle of the ocean, kind of going back in time, but you're probably wondering how we ended up in the middle of the ocean and why we are here tonight.
So pre-pandemic, 2019, we were in Portland building power systems for vans. We had one employee. My mom was kind of side hustle, our CFO, accountant on the weekends, helping us keep our books in line. And we were shipping power systems out to DIY projects. We had an opportunity to test one of our systems in a marine application to support 6 people over 2 of the largest ocean crossings. We're talking like 20 days at sea. So we went from Mexico to Hawaii, Hawaii to Fiji, and we really pride ourselves that we've lived this, right? We lived in the van for 4.5 years. We wanted to take our systems where truly our lives depended on them working. So we can stand behind our product. And we went on this sailing trip, remote work, pandemic. We all worked remotely. We took that to the extreme, and we ran our business from satellite email and Fiji internet, which is actually quite good and more affordable than it is here.
No joke.
We were able to grow our company in 2020, and then we had a record year 2021. We actually revenued our first 1.3 million in a single calendar year from the other side of the world, relaying emails to my mom who was here and our one employee building kits. So that was really exciting, but it was also very eye-opening and furthermore, proof of concept. We have something here. We've been in business for 5 years.
We've survived.
Start crying. What's happening?
Our marriage is still alive.
We're still together. And we really just kind of looked at each other and said, let's go put our head down. Let's chase this thing. Let's grow this thing. We went back to Portland, and an opportunity came up through one of our fabricators who actually builds our roof box. Some of you may know Composite Approach, local company in Redmond. And they said, hey, we're moving into this new building with this other local company, Cube Series, and there's room for you guys to like rent half of this size room. And so that opportunity came up. And
Yeah, so we moved into the shop in Redmond, whoop whoop, with Cube Series, also a local company here, super great people, Composite Approach, like Wet said. But this year we've been just really focusing on marketing, running Google ads, Facebook ads, stuff like that. We're also going to be at the Hood River Adventure Van Expo tomorrow and over the weekend. So if you guys are around, come check us out. Talk Solar. And also the Overland Expo in July 8th through the 10th. So, yep. In Redmond. So come check us out.
So last little bits of business numbers. So that 1.3 was, 2.5 to 3 power systems a month. Like, we just scratched the surface. The van conversion industry is a $2 billion industry. We built 3 kits a month. Our guy can build 2 a week, right? So we could 3x our business without changing our revenue or our overhead. And that's kind of our goal. Double down on marketing. My mom's an official employee now. Savannah's an employee. And we have our one technician.
It's a family business.
Yeah. We're Tiny Watts.
Yeah.
But we're going big. So, anyways, yeah. That's it.
Thank you.
Is this on? Amazing pitch, you guys. Let's scooch just a tiny bit that way. Well done, well done. I just want to verify one thing. You said you can power a Vitamix. Is that real?
Oh yeah. You want to make margaritas later? Let's do it.
Wow. This is huge, you guys. Also, the van conversion industry. Love that phrase. Didn't see it coming, but here it is.
Yes.
$2 billion industry. No big deal. So we're gonna turn over to the crowd for questions. Anybody have questions for these guys? Yes.
So, starting a business with your spouse, what has been the hardest thing?
What has been the hardest thing about starting a business with your spouse, and how do you keep that a priority? And I'm assuming he means staying married.
Yeah. Well, we started it, she was just my girlfriend, and then she was my fiance, and now we're married. So I think we might have different answers to this question, but I would say
Probably.
my wife is like really, really rad. Yeah. She's a good one. So that helps, but honestly, I would say the biggest challenge is probably turning it off. When it's your baby and you get an email at 11:30 at night and you want to like talk strategic strategies, and babe might just want to watch a movie, and you're like, whoa, wait,
Yes.
we got a plan for business growth. But I think turning it off would be hard.
Turning it hard. Turning it on, turning it off. When you're
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Watts, that is some tricky business right there. Deanne. How much does it cost, and do you have an ask?
Yeah, so our systems range from probably around 17 upwards of 30,000, depending on how long you want to run your air conditioner. So you tell me. And but it's like the best time to go solar than it's ever been. There's a 26% tax credit off the entire cost of that system because your van is your second residence and you're going green. And so that can drastically reduce that net investment. And states like California are banning gas generators in 2024. So we're kind of looking ahead at where this industry is going. People want to go camping where other people aren't, and they want to enjoy the peace and quiet nature has to offer.
Yeah, and to finish that, we are asking for strategic partnerships. Hi, I can't really see you guys down there. Strategic partnerships and more business to business with van companies, van outfitters.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're in Bend, Oregon. There's a whole lot of ADUs.
Would you put one of these on an ADU?
So yes and no. The challenge there is like we're all off-grid, right? When you start getting into residences, there's building codes, there's permits, there's county stuff. We like off-grid on wheels. It's the Wild West. You can do, that's kind of our niche. We stay off-grid, battery-based, so no grid connectivity, and ADUs kind of fall into that category. But you should call Elemental Energy, which is our friend's company, and they'll help you out.
They do residential and commercial.
Or write to your senator. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Have you tested your systems in the harsh conditions of the Midwest?
Have you tested?
Rain and gloomy all winter.
Yeah.
Have you
we
tested
prefer
your
to-
systems in the harsh conditions of the Midwest?
I like to test where the waves are good and the sun is shining. So yeah, we prefer like Fiji, Mexico, diving. Yeah. So
But
no, we
yes, we have tested up in the mountains where there's no sun and our solar panels are covered in snow.
Green
Yes.
smoothies all around.
Yes. It had its ups and downs. Yes.
But who wants to drink margaritas when it's a blizzard outside? I mean, you're...
Definitely me.
haven't. He does.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. Yes.
What position are you in the marketplace? You mentioned there's a big marketplace for this. Where does your product fit in the market?
Where do you fit in the
That's a good
marketplace?
one.
Where do you position yourselves in the marketplace? A big, big space.
In terms of like market share or cost? I would say we're on the higher end, but at the same time, we offer a lot more. So our systems are bigger than a lot of the competition. So these are people that have either sold their home or are really building out a 4-season vehicle to take their families camping, and they don't want the lights to flicker, right? They want
Yeah.
it to work. So I'd say we're at the higher end, but
I mean, the overland market is a $2 billion market right now. It is just completely blown up. And cabinets are going for 20 grand right now. Wall panel kits, 15 grand. I
Yep.
mean, it's off the charts.
Yep.
There's a lot of money into vans in the overland market.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Hopefully that answered your question, John.
Yeah, hopefully
Okay.
I answered it.
My last question is, are you sick of people making jokes about your name being Watts?
I'm all about it, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Great.
Yeah,
We soak it
yeah.
up.
We're the power couple. Last name's Watts.
I think you got,
Yeah.
I think you got to
Yeah.
embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually your name. You didn't like change your name after
100%.
you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Born.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is amazing. I think we could ask you a whole lot more questions, and
Yeah.
I hope you'll come back and check in with us. And yes.
I'll just add, we actually do have one of our electrical systems here. We have our van. It's a little dirty, but we'll open it up and show you one of
We've
our
been using
projects
it.
that we're getting ready to ship to a client. So if anyone wants to see what we build, we have one here. And if anyone has a van, come talk to us. We do a
Wow.
little
Wow, that is
5%
something you will
off
never
for the
hear me
locals.
say.
Yeah.
Based here now?
Yeah, we're
Yes,
in Redmond.
based
We're in
Central
Redmond.
Oregon.
Yeah.
You will never, ever hear me say, if anyone has a van, come talk to me.
Come
That's just
talk to
not-
us about solar.
It's just not going to happen.
good.
But for you guys,
You're
it's a
so
totally different thing. So
Yes.
yeah, I get
It
it.
is.
Really well done. Lovely
you.
pitch, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited.
Thank you,
for
everybody.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome job.
The number of times I've told y'all to go, it's okay, I numbered the pages. It's astounding the number of times I have invited the EDCO PubTalk, yeah, you can throw them. The number of times I've invited the EDCO PubTalk audience to go check out someone's van in the back. It's getting really, it's fine. No, you know what? We're evolving. This is evolution. That's what this is. Okay. Savannah and Wes, really well done. How about another round of applause for my friends? Wish you the best of luck at the van convention in Hood River. Really. All right, our second company pitch is sponsored by Bend Broadband, who is proud to be a continued sponsor of PubTalk and are privileged to support the communities in which we serve. We know that economic growth is crucial to the well-being of Central Oregon, and we are committed to supporting initiatives and organizations such as EDCO that do, hold on, I'm on page, there we are, this important work. Like many businesses, we are experiencing many unfilled positions within our company and have many exciting positions open. Please go to benbroadband.com/careers to see the list of available jobs. And COAR, the Central Oregon Association of Realtors, is the voice of the real estate industry in Crook, Deschutes, Jefferson, and Harney counties. COAR's members strive to build better communities by supporting quality growth, seeking sustainable economies and housing opportunities. And a special thanks to Central Oregon Association of Realtors for your financial support of the Youth Career Connect program fostering internships across Central Oregon. Thank you so much. All right, SherpTek designs and manufactures high-end modular truck bed systems with a focus on quality, functionality, and end-user experience. Each system starts with an ultra-lightweight flatbed that has infinite structural attachment points to increase its modularity and allow for quick transformations. SherpTek founder and CEO Ryan Goodwin launched the brand in 2017 and moved it to Prineville earlier this year, where all systems are now custom built to order and installed at the new Central Oregon facility. Please welcome to the stage the founder of SherpTek, Ryan Goodwin. Ryan, where are you, my friend? You're welcome. Yeah, get yourself situated. Oh, nice. Magnet. Yeah. He's taller than I am, guys.
I'd have to read this little screen, so it's not going to be easy. Thank you, Shannon. Hello, friends and neighbors. Really glad to be here. My name is Ryan Goodwin. I am the founder of SherpTek. We design and manufacture the lightest weight, most durable, and only modular truck bed system on the market. And before I start, I want to kind of start with some of quotes from customers. An engineering work of art. A legit, simple type of genius that just works. It's a constant source of pleasure to use it. The only downside is the endless stream of people asking about it whenever we stop. This is beyond ideal. And I can hear all your little inside voices right now saying, okay, that's great, but what the heck is a modular truck bed? So it's a multifunctional, transformable system. It starts with our ultralight flatbed, and it has structural attachment points built into the structure itself on the top and bottom. And this allows any array of accessories to be added or removed within minutes. And this all started back in 2011 when I built my own truck bed because I couldn't find anything that suited my needs. And yes, I do live in my camper and have since 2009. But I utilized my experience from the aerospace industry to design the lightest structure that I could because I was carrying around a heavy camper. During the first year of using it, enough people convinced me that I should look at doing it as a business. So I started what became years of market research while furthering the design and testing. From the market research, the common must-haves were it has to be lightweight, it has to have a low deck height, it has to have ample storage, and it has to be durable, long-term, and for off-road use. And aside from that, 90 out of 100 answers were kind of unique and different and odd asks. So I let that multifunctionality be the fifth factor in the product development roadmap. So in 2017, SherpTek launched officially and operated out of a shared space in Eugene until the beginning of this year when we relocated to Central Oregon. And we are super happy to be part of this amazing community. Hey, that sounds better. What am I doing wrong? Okay. Currently, we are direct-to-consumer with customized built-to-order systems. And our product is situated at the high end of the market. We're often referred to as the Mercedes or Ferrari of truck beds. Our prices range quite a bit. They can be as low as $8,000 for a small base system and up to $55,000 to $60,000 for a large chassis cab with all the bells and whistles and all the accessories that we offer. And this range is huge because we can build on a short bed Tacoma or the biggest chassis cab out there. Our systems start with our proprietary aluminum extrusions and custom aerospace panels that are paired together with aerospace construction for long-term durability. And this keeps them all ultra lightweight. Like I'm talking 300-pound truck bed that can handle a 10,000-pound payload. Myself and my partner Rebecca over here, make sure you say hi to her, run the business. We manage the overall day-to-day operations, and we had 2 employees relocate with us to Central Oregon, and we're currently working to restaff, including taking part in an intern program at the local high school. Our primary market demographic is in the recreation industry, specifically truck camper integration and overlanding use. Most of our demographic is at or near retirement age, or they are millennial professionals traveling for work or working remotely, in case that sounds familiar. Often these people are moving up from tents, rooftop tents, small tow behinds, vans, or they're downsizing from a Class C, Class A, huge tow behind, fifth wheel, things like that. And they're kind of landing in the middle. We're kind of in that middle zone for all these people. And they all want storage along with their habitat system, and they want it to look good and function well and quite honestly, be versatile. Our main market right now is truck camper owners. This is a market that saw pretty moderate growth from 2016 to 2020, and then saw 42% growth from 20 to 21, and is up another 28% as of April this year. And with an average about 3,500 wholesale only units sold per year from 2016 to 2021, just kind of shows that there's actually a good sized demographic just within this niche market that we're currently in. The overlanding market doesn't really, I'm sure you guys know that it's had explosive growth since 2015. According to SEMA, it's one of their largest sectors that it supports, and has seen around 10% growth year to year since 2017. The potential for SherpTek to break into numerous other markets is great because we provide value propositions and could disrupt some of these markets. These markets include small electric utility vehicles, which we have already demonstrated on Arcimotos out of Eugene and currently have a license agreement with. Utility truck beds, general contractors, ranchers, Forest Service, fire fleets, chase trucks, farrier beds, oversized delivery trucks, truck enthusiasts who just want more out of their truck bed and want it to be unique and cool. These are all markets that we really are not scratching the surface of yet. So as you can see, there's a lot of business opportunities still out there for us to expand into. As far as competition, nobody really does what we do the way we do it. However, there are a number of flatbed companies out there who do market to the niche market of truck campers that we're currently in. Companies like Douglas Truck Bodies, Bowen Customs, Illumitray, Highway Products. They all offer welded truck beds. They might be steel, which are very heavy. We're a quarter of the weight of any of those. Otherwise, they're welded aluminum, which compared to our non-welded system, really won't hold up to the long-term rugged use. And our product really stands out in the industry because it is the lightest, toughest, and only transformable modular design. To date, SherpTek, we've done $2.2 million in sales, and we currently have open order receivables of $750,000. And we're booking orders right now for Q4 2023. Which is not awesome. Depends on how you look at it. This is a huge opportunity for us to rein in the lead time and recognize this revenue sooner. We're looking at adding additional equipment and staffing to make this happen. And this, in turn, bringing that down will increase our sales as people are definitely apprehensive about a long lead time like that. We have already started to pivot the business towards a more standardized product and kit. And we are also eliminating some of our lower margin services that have taken too much time and we're not making enough from them. And that sort of leads into our ask. We're at a pivotal point within the company. We've bootstrapped this to this point, and we're ready to take it to the next level. We have a proven design. People love it. We have a market out there and multiple markets to dive into. And so we are looking for strategic business partners to help execute the pivot that we've already started. The ideal partner would be an active partner who could fill gaps in business and operations. They would be able to infuse capital and help us gain access to capital. And they would help us to grow and start to capitalize on some of this larger overall market potential that includes connecting with B2B networks and building kind of a dealer network where we can really take this business to much, much higher levels. So with that, I think this is where we turn it back over to you.
Very well done. Thank you, Ryan. This is so awesome. Truck enthusiasts, love that phrase. What has been the most exciting part of this whole, you're like, friends told us we should turn this into a business, and you did, and then all this other stuff happened. What's been like the most kind of fun thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing every time someone picks up their bet. They just kind of stand in awe. I don't know if you've looked at our site much, but our products look really good, and I'm less about looks, I'm all about function. So we do a 4 to 8 hour walkthrough to show them all the functionality and all the modularity and how to use it. And people are just blown away every time by what it can do.
That's so cool.
Cool.
That's so cool. That's got to feel great. Questions from the crowd for my friend Ryan. Yes.
I actually have
Two questions.
Have you bootstrapped this entire thing?
Have you bootstrapped this entire thing?
Or have you taken on any investor money?
Have you taken on any investor money, VCs?
And then the second one was, what's your product roadmap look like for the next 24 months?
And then what's your product roadmap look like for the next 24 months? She's done this before.
Yes, very good questions. We bootstrapped from the beginning. However, we were in an agreement with our previous landlord who was providing some rent and equipment, and that has rolled into what essentially became a loan. So we do have that debt on our books. But our product roadmap right now is standardizing our products and adding equipment so that we can stop dealing with long lead times from our vendors and really deal with the bottlenecks that we have in our system right now. And bringing the equipment in-house that all of our vendors make is really our roadmap, and it is doubling or tripling our revenue while bringing down our cost of goods sold all at the same time over the next 24 months.
So exciting. So exciting. Yeah, if someone's clapping. You can clap. Yeah, let it rip. Any other questions for Ryan? Yes, Todd. How long does it take to do one installation now? And what's the top thing you knew to get your lead time down?
Installation can vary a lot depending on the number of options, because we offer our own compressor system and air systems that kind of go with it, like a shop air system. So, but a typical installation can be anywhere from 2 to 5 days. And that includes a camper integration piece of it, because we're nesting the camper. We're looking at kind of pushing a bit of that out to the consumer. Sorry, what was the second question?
What's the top thing you need to do to shorten your lead time?
Really add staff and some equipment is the key thing.
Yeah, so big moves, pretty big moves.
Yeah, and get me more in the design, manufacturing, engineering role, and less in the business.
Yeah, I hear that's really important. Yeah, it's important to hold that vision. So have you looked at like Google Analytics to see how many people are searching, give me the Ferrari of truck beds or give me the Mercedes of truck beds, and is that affecting your business or?
We have not looked specifically for those search terms.
I bet a lot of people are searching that. Okay, yes, all the way in the back. If it's not welded, how is it formatted? Thank you, virtual audience.
Formatted. So we use aerospace construction techniques. So we use high-strength adhesives and rivets that hold together our custom aerospace panels and our proprietary extrusions. And that really allows us to build to any length and any width. Like literally, if Boeing wanted a system to move wings around, we could build it 30 feet wide and a football field long.
And they can have it in 2039.
That seems to match their time frame.
It does. It seems, yeah, it does seem on brand, doesn't it? Any other questions for Ryan? Yes, Skylar. Are you handling 100% of the manufacturing, or are you partnering with local? Are you doing anything with people in Prineville? What are you doing?
We outsource a lot of, we do a lot of really pretty complex sheet metal parts, and we do outsource a fair amount of stuff. These are the things that I'm looking to bring in-house, to control lead times, control the quality, and kind of lower some of our really expensive inventory.
Can you give an example of a part?
If you look at our underbed boxes and the way we build those, again, these are weldless systems, so they're very thin gauge materials. They're weldless and bonded together, and our flank sides, complete weldless system that they're basically fold down tailgates on the sides. The parts, we outsource all of that, but we assemble it in-house. There's not a lot of companies without going to the aerospace industry that know how to build the way that we do. And if I had aerospace companies building this stuff, it would be the Bentley of truck beds. I don't know what's more than
it would be the aerospace of truck beds.
Exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
It would be a lot. Yes.
I have a lot of exposure to the aerospace engineer.
We've got connections to aerospace.
What's your background?
What's your background? I had the same question.
Well, let's go a little further back. I started in the bicycle industry. So I was designing and building bikes 20-some years ago. So I was kind of into the like specialty materials, lightweight stuff then, and then I transferred to the aerospace industry, specifically unmanned aircraft up in Hood River. So I spent several years designing the large parts of that system, like launch and recovery systems, and then down to the miniature stabilized gimbals that they use for surveillance and electromechanical systems and stuff like that.
And then you built your own, and the rest is history.
And I built my own, and people thought it was
People
kinda
thought
cool.
it was cool.
I had no intention of starting a company.
Well, it is an
doing this.
interesting space because I know, like, we've all seen the trucks where the thing is like so heavy and the truck's like barely coughing down the road, and so yeah, you're doing something cool. Okay, I think I had one more.
How did you pick Prineville, and are you able to find the people that you want to find?
Isn't that the question? How did you pick Prineville, and are you finding the people that you need?
Yeah, so it was mid last year that we knew our lease was going to be up, and we did not want to stay in Eugene. Rebecca is solar powered, so we were looking for a place with more solar. So sun, solar, whatever. Should have called Wes. So we were actually looking across the entire West. We have to be near mountains or else we wither and die. So we were looking from Arizona, Idaho, considering, Western Washington, Oregon, all the sunny spots. We weren't really considering California. But so we were looking all over. No need to go into that. Anyway, so yeah, we started looking Central Oregon, and we kind of wanted to live in a smaller community. So Bend was on the ticket, and I love Bend, but we wanted a little bit smaller community, and I love that we have the proximity to Bend, and we can come here as much as we want.
And then you can leave it
Prineville's
here.
a little bit smaller. And then as far as people, the high school has been great. They have a CTE program, and we are finding really good, motivated kids out of that. There's something like 3,500 people that drive to Bend and Redmond from Prineville for work. So we're hoping to kind of steer those people around and bring them back. But it's hiring people is still a challenge. It has been a challenge for the last few years and still continues to be, but we're getting there.
But you're not losing hope, and that's the important thing, Ryan. We need to keep you hopeful. Your wife is no longer moldy. You are still hopeful. We are on the right track. Yes.
I know we're crunched for time. What's your high school program look like?
What does your high school program look like?
The one in Prineville? What do you mean?
What was high school like for you, Ryan? No, I'm just kidding.
My high school program. Well, let's see. Probably shouldn't go there. It's come in and use a bunch of hand tools that aren't powered because they can't even use a drill. That's what it looks like. No, it's they're great. So they can't use any power tools. That's the main thing until they're 18. So we bring them in. That's a thing. Yeah.
Call your senator.
Yeah. Can I shed some light on
Yes.
this?
Yes.
The laws for kids file. Yes. Exactly.
He's going to shed some light.
The laws are from the 30s.
Oh,
Literally,
no.
This is Boley told
Not
me
that again.
When a drill is like like it's like heavy, hardcore machinery. The laws are literally from the 30s and have not been rewritten. They need to be rewritten.
My
so
God.
It really should. I mean, I'm applying for special permits to let them run CNC. We have a bunch of automated machinery where they can just push a button. They don't have to see a saw blade or be exposed to anything dangerous. And so, well, yeah, has it ever hurt anybody? Well, maybe, but still.
I mean, wow, this is really fascinating. Well, I'm really excited to see what you do next. I know we're all rooting for you, so I hope you'll come back and give us another update soon.
I would love to.
Thank you so much.
In the meantime, check out our
Now,
stuff.
do you have a truck out back for people to go look at, or what are we talking about?
We tried really hard. Everyone's on vacation.
Everyone's
and
driving
we
their
didn't
trucks
have one
around,
in
having a
final
good time.
stage,
That
yeah.
makes sense. Well, that's good. They're enjoying the product.
Yeah. So,
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to just give this to you.
How about another round of applause for Ryan? So we've got Tiny Watts, a Splory, Earth Cruiser. You guys could form a whole club here. I'm sensing a whole thing happening, a whole special part of town or something maybe. Now on to our keynote, which is sponsored by Ferguson Wellman Capital Management. As we approach May 29th, known as 529 College Savings Day, we encourage you to check out our blog for a video and article on this popular educational savings tool, common misconceptions about 529 plans, and how 529 savings may impact financial aid eligibility. Learn more at fergusonwellman.com. And COCC, Central Oregon Community College, provides workforce training that works. From career and technical education to apprenticeship opportunities, leadership workshops to the Small Business Development Center, COCC is the source for entrepreneurial workforce and business education services. Find out how COCC can help you develop the customized training you need to take your business and your employees to the next level, and you can contact COCC's Ken Betchart to learn more. If I took a survey of Central Oregon brewery industry goats, greatest of all times, there is no doubt that Gary Fish and Tony Lawrence would be right at the top of that list. Gary Fish founded Deschutes Brewery in downtown Bend in 1988. Deschutes began as a small pub and is now the 11th largest craft brewery in the U.S. Tony Lawrence is co-founder and brewmaster of Boneyard Beer, which started with one goal in mind: to make great beer. And I would say that Boneyard has more than accomplished that goal. They are well known for their #1 selling draft India Pale Ale in the Pacific Northwest. That's RPM IPA. You all know it and love it, as well as their Rebel Spirit. How did two of our strongest brands in Bend beer raise the bar? They partner, and that's exactly what they've done, creating a truly unique, one-of-a-kind, Bend-based, local-to-local, craft-to-craft partnership. Please help me welcome to the stage two of our brewing industry veterans and hear more about their joining of forces to be better and stronger together. Tony and Gary, come on up.
These work?
Test.
All right. They asked us what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do this, and I think Tony and I both agreed that we would rather have a conversation with you than provide a lecture. So we're happy to stand up here and talk ad nauseum about our relationship, our history, beer. I mean, we can talk about beer all night if you want, but we'd rather know what you, so please, we'll start, but you guys, we'd rather talk about, I think, what you're interested in more than what we're interested in. As you heard, we started Deschutes Brewery in 1988 as a small pub. Our business plan, we did actually have a business plan. Wasn't a very big one. Yeah. And we started the little pub up here on Bond Street, and Bend was a very different place back then. But we learned and we grew, and the industry helped provide some momentum for us. But in 1989, we hired, pardon me, a skinny little snowboarder from Southern California as a dishwasher. And he very quickly distinguished himself when John Harris, our brewer at the time, said, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to shovel out the mash tun?" The mash tun is a huge, hot, steaming bowl of breakfast cereal.
I spoke with John Harris today, another topic. But
Yeah. And at the time, there was no way to get the mash, as they called it, out of this kettle other than to shovel it out with a big grain shovel. And John was tired of doing it, and he asked Tony if he wanted to do it. And in that small gesture, he launched a career for this young guy who didn't know where he was going, but he found his way, and yeah, I'm pretty much going to stop right there. I'm going to let you take it, so you can actually tell them the truth of the whole story. So,
hey guys, Tony here, co-founder of Boneyard, and yes, Gary and I have an amazing, long-standing history. The story is out of this world, and we'll get more into that. And it just pinch myself, and thank you, Gary, for hosting me in 1989 and bringing me into my professional career. And you're a big part of giving me the ambition and the drive, but also, I had my own role in finding my own way. But also, I thank Silver Moon, thanks EDCO. We're so happy to be here. As I said, I'm Tony, co-founder of Boneyard, and unlike Tiny Watts, I didn't have a stress test. I was traveling across the Pacific with my products. The products I desired to produce were much more user-friendly, one might say. But if you need a desert island beer, I suggest it be a Boneyard. Tiny Watts, collaboration.
I agree.
Yeah, Gary's right. I started at Deschutes in 1989, and what we're here to talk about tonight is a little freestyle conversation with you all, because I think I've partnered up with the right person, right company, and I'm so excited, and we'll get talking about that. Yeah, you're right. In 1989, I started Deschutes Brewery right down the street, came into town as a little snowboard rat, and I was always interested in beer, Sierra Nevada being a key thing of that. And I needed a job, and I got a job at Deschutes Brewery. And I just had a mutual friend that worked there in the kitchen, as Gary already shared with you, which led to a relationship with John Harris, whom I consider the brewmaster of Oregon, really. Who launched all the original recipes. I think that was on the trivia earlier for Deschutes, the Mere Pond, the Black Porter, the Jubile Ale, et cetera, et cetera. John Harris of now Ecliptic Brewing. I consider him to be the iconic brewmaster of Oregon, and he was my mentor. And but his mentorship at that time, combined with the drive and determination of Gary and Deschutes Brewery, really helped. As Gary said, give me a direction. Did you say that? What did you say?
I'd never forget. So Tony had started Boneyard, and there's a lot of time and stories in between, and we may get to that. But he had started being at the little brewery on Lake Place, and I was really involved with industry issues nationally and locally and everywhere else. And the Beer Institute was a basically Anheuser-Busch's trade association. And the director of that, an ex-Navy commander, came in, a full Washington, D.C. kind of guy, going around visiting people who were on his board, which I was. And I said, look, you want to know what craft beer is about? Let me show you. And we drove over. I called Tony, make sure he was there. We drove over to Lake Place, and Lake Place was truly the Boneyard. I mean, he cobbled this thing together with used pieces and parts, and I'll never forget this. And we're walking around, and Tony's giving us the nickel tour, which is about the size of your garage at home, and Tony said something. He said, "Gary, you'll be so proud of me." I said, "Why? What are you doing?" He says, "I'm writing employee manuals." I thought, this is my guy.
Yeah, that's correct. You failed. One of my favorite memories really is I was cobbling together my brewery, which is very true. The Boneyard thing is much more than you probably
it's real.
heard or maybe not heard. Boneyard slang for maybe where I got it from originally was they were going to the Boneyard in Las Vegas of the old neon signs from the Strip. Then there's the Boneyard Airport, the kitchen industry are Boneyard, so our materials that we use to start our brewery were from the Boneyards of many, many breweries around the West Coast that I worked for and what have you. It's not necessarily because repurposing or recycling. It's just because that's the only way that I could figure out, financially or creatively to support my project, including the one that you failed to mention. One of my famous the images I like most is one is of us at the steel yard in Terrebonne, and I was always sourcing weird stainless steel and stuff, and I went out there. There's a whole huge bin of kegs. Kegs cost $150 each, by the way. And when you're like a young brewery trying to make draft-only beer, that's quite a obstacle to overcome. But there was a whole huge thing of Deschutes Brewery kegs out there. So I was able to purchase them for the spot price of stainless that day, and then I painted over them or whatever I did and put them back out.
A little.
But then, of course, for me, that's just one of my favorite stories because it sort of sets the tone for the full circle of our story from 1989 to 2010 to 2022. There's so many little spots along the way that I find completely interesting.
Oh, we've intersected many, many, many times, and what do you guys want to talk about? I mean, we can do this all night if you want, but yeah.
My impression, and I'm not in your industry, is
They were valued,
Have
breweries were
brewery-
valued very highly a few years ago, but not so much
Hey, Gary, I'm going
anymore.
to help you just a little bit. So the people at home can't hear if I don't repeat the question. It's technology, I don't know. Craft brewery were highly valued. You're saying the question has come up, is that no longer the case?
No, I thought the thing that was driving it were that the big labels like Budweiser or Coors weren't growing. Craft
Oh.
brewers were growing, so the big guys were buying the little guys for the growth.
The big guys are buying the little guys. Has something changed?
Valuations are the same as they used to be?
Or have valuations changed? And how do you value a craft brewery?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic that's happened in the industry. There are right about 10,000 breweries in the United States right now. When we started up the street here, there was 150. 4 years before we started, there were maybe 80. And I like to say I spent a great deal of my professional life trying to teach the consumer to embrace variety, which is the opposite of what Anheuser-Busch had been doing up to that point. Go figure, we were successful because that's what people want. But you know one of the things that Jim Cook, who started Sam Adams, been very, very successful, said, which I think really is relevant, and I've said the first part, and that is that the industry has gotten to the point where basically the barriers to entry are at zero. You're a home brewer with your homebrew kit. You can fill out a form, write a check for $50 or whatever the regulating authorities want, or as some people do, don't do that at all and just pretend you're ignorant and you're not going to get caught. And you can wheel a keg down to the tavern on the corner where you know the guy that owns it, and he'll put you on tap because you're friends. All your friends, you've been giving your friends free beer for years. They all tell you you're a great brewer. And all of a sudden you're in business. But the tap handle that you got at the tavern came from somebody else. And so it's really interesting where the barriers to entry have come down to zero. The other side of the coin, and this is what Jim added, is that the barriers to exit are therefore at infinity. There's no way out. So we have to find other ways to service that part of the business life cycle. And it's cool, it's fun, I love beer, I love the life I've got, but it's interesting when what constitutes value in a business or in an industry when growth costs nothing, but everything else is expensive beyond reason.
I have a question for the two of you. What are you working on together now?
Thank you, great question. Of course, for me, it's always about the beer. It sounds so obvious to say it's about the beer, it's about the beer, it's about the beer, but it absolutely is. That's just what I grew up doing. It's about the only skill or trade set I have. So what I manufacture and produce better be really good. And so that's what I try and hang my hat on. That being said, I'll speak from the Boneyard behalf, which is with our partnership. I've always been super curious of what these liquids in this brand may have to say up and down the West Coast. Mm-hmm. Primarily Boneyard's been Oregon, strong, Washington, maybe a little Northern California. Feel really good. I got a lot of friends around the country and the world. They're like, okay, you're killing it. I'm like, okay. But our historically pre-COVID or pre-pandemic, our capacity or our manufacturing facilities had a certain capacity on it. And for me, that capacity was I was pretty comfortable where that was, unless I was going to double down, spend $5 or $7 million capex and the 5-year project and really go super deep. So to partner with Gary and Deschutes is allowing me to be more creative in that ability for my scope of imagination and see what the heck Boneyard has to say from Vancouver, BC to San Diego. Maybe as far as, Idaho, Wyoming, might call Denver, something like that. So for me, it's super exciting to have the opportunity, not just to have the availability by capacity to tap into these emerging markets, but there's so many other things that are happening which I've never had before. Sales team, never had one. Marketing department, never had one. Art department, never had one. The boardroom was like 2.5 people. And so it's a whole new adventure for me. I get to jump on board with the whole facility, the whole operation, this big ship, and use that vehicle for Boneyard to see what it can say. And again, for me, I've always just been curious. Is there a metric? I don't know what the metric is. Is it volume? Is it pats on the shoulder? Is it top line, bottom line? No, I'm just curious.
Is it wild things that happen when people drink your product? I don't know. This partnership has been going strong throughout the years in many different ways. You've come back to Deschutes in several different capacities, and I wonder if you could speak to the history of that, because I don't know that that's commonly known to everyone in the community.
Well, yeah, Tony had his own path to follow before coming back to us. But I just want to touch a little bit. Tony talked about what he gets, and you're right. I mean, we have a lot of things to offer for somebody growing a business like him. But what we get out of that might not be what you're thinking. And, we get sales, we get all that kind of stuff. But to me, the most impactful thing that we've gotten out of our relationship as businesses is that we're learning how to bootstrap again. We're learning how to be entrepreneurial again. We're learning how to be true to our story again. And I'll admit it, we'll be 34 next week. And we need this refresher as an organization, and that we need to be able to relate to how they do it, because they're really good at it.
Yeah, they are. Okay, questions. I know every hand's going to go up. Yes. How do you scale?
How much money do you have?
How do you scale
Or
up?
how much money don't you have?
Right. Well, this is two different ways of scaling, right? So this is like a pretty interesting question for the two of you.
Well, it's really easy if you sell 1 barrel of beer to grow by 100%, because all you have to do is sell 2 barrels of beer. When you're selling 300,000 barrels of beer, doubling is a lot harder. So, it's like growing any other business. You have to have a compelling proposition. You have to have, and this is something that I think craft beer has had a hard time learning over the last 3 or 4 decades, is you have to have a brand that's relevant. There's lots of good beer out there. The ability to make good beer, it used to be that, people would move through the industry because they just couldn't quite get the quality control thing down. That's not really true anymore. Of 10,000 breweries, 6,000 of them are making good beer, really good beer. And so how do you compete within that? You've got to be able to build a compelling brand story as well. So, and it goes on, but that's really what you're starting to do. And when you're bootstrapping, starting up, it's tough to do.
I got a little something. There's some entrepreneurs in the room, clearly, and if you wouldn't be sitting here if you weren't curious and interested about what it takes, and I'm sure we all have our own lens or filters, whatever you want to call it, and to how you are able to cross over to from imagination to execution and beyond. And you know, I just want to say somehow it's like, what's the difference really between a high risk tolerance and being slightly reckless? Because it takes that to become, it takes that to.
It's a very fine line.
So you figure out who you are.
Sometimes the line moves too.
If you're not willing to get out your own way and take some risk, just get out of the room.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of your colleagues in the state industry have expanded into like road liquor production. Do you guys consider that as a business channel?
Has the idea to expand into other products ever come up, like Rogue starting a distillery? Was that ever on the table for either of you?
Well, as far as Deschutes is concerned, yeah, I mean, whiskey basically starts as beer. I mean, that's fundamentally true. And we have actually a whiskey that we make with Ben Distillery called Black Butte whiskey. It's a 5-year aged American whiskey made basically from a wash of a derivation of Black Butte Porter. And we've had a blast with it. It's not a big part of our business at all, which from my perspective allows us to really focus on the quality, since we're not going to be paying the bills with this product. But yet it's going to carry our brand. We want to make sure it's really, really good, and I think we've done an admirable job with that.
I think the audience agrees. Did you have anything to add to that?
I mean, absolutely. On so many levels. For example, at the most simple origins of what's a restaurant and a bar space if you're a brewer. That for me originally was really challenging. I have one now, but I really told myself I'd never do it. I'm a brewer. I manufacture beer. I'm not going to dilute that with other aspects of considerations, relationships, management levels of the food and beverage space, but I did it. You know, obviously, I think being here in Bend and with the beer culture and the tourism, I mean, it was a good, solid business move. But I swear I would never do it. But here we are, and we're in the, you know, Boneyard's done some NA stuff with the Elixir CBD project. So, you know, stay hungry, stay thirsty. I'm not so sure. I believe in the project, the food and beverage space, and I believe in the NA Elixir project, and so it keeps us up at night, keeps us up in the morning thinking about the things that we're chasing. So that's all there is to it for me.
Yeah, and we're looking at that space. I mean, we actually had a product that fit more into it was not an exact fit, but fit more into the kind of the seltzer space or the RTD space. And we introduced it in March of 2020.
Wow. Sorry, Gary.
Nobody's perfect. So we may do that again, but right now, you know, our focus is beer, and we're trying to do that as well as we can. And, you know, we're still crawling out of a big hole.
Well, the good news
that was
is
dug over the last few years. So
the good news is people still love beer.
Yeah,
so
well,
you did pick a good
thank
product.
goodness.
Yes.
And that's still what keeps me up all night, every night, beer. You know what I mean? It just does.
In good
Tony's
ways
right.
and bad. Aaron. Gary, what part have you played in the success of other breweries as the beer scene here is so successful because of collaboration and partnership?
We were talking earlier tonight about kind of the Deschutes Brewery family tree and how many of the local breweries have been populated with people who came through us, learned how to brew through us, worked, you know, got their training through us and so forth. And they're not just Tony, and Tony's an excellent example, maybe the best. But you know, we've played a role in that. I was a founding board member of the Oregon Brewers Guild, the first Oregon Trade Association. I was a founding member of the Brewers Association, which is the national trade association for small brewers. It goes on. I spent most of I'm not a brewer, so I wasn't tied to a schedule for making beer. So I spent a lot of my time trying to build a marketplace, which when we started in 1988 didn't exist. Regulatory understanding of what we were trying to do didn't exist. We had to educate the regulators. For bankers, didn't know what we were doing. I mean, the experience that we had when we came to town and the bankers said, we don't loan money to restaurants. Well, it's not just a restaurant, it's a brewery, and we don't know anything about breweries, so we won't loan you money. But it's a restaurant we don't loan money to restaurants. And this circular conversation repeated itself several times with bankers here in town. And that was the same story happening nationally. So I spent a lot of time trying to create this playing field that we all use now. And that's what I did when they were making beer.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Gary.
No,
Gary.
I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I lamented a little bit because it's ironic, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Would you run for office, Gary?
No.
I had to ask, yes. When you look back, this is a fun question. When you look back, do you have any mistakes that make you laugh, and what did you learn?
What, you want me to go?
Okay, we'll try it from this side of the stage. Yeah, clearly. I mean, as I kind of shared with you briefly, I think there's a lot of people in this room that either accomplished or desiring to accomplish their dreams and aspirations. So you, at least for me, on retrospect, you look at your strengths and weaknesses in the rear view mirror. That's just through my filter, through my lens. How realistic is it? I'm not so sure. That being said, for me, the question applies is this. I think I'm really good at what I do, and that's making beer. But I started a company that kind of blew up, and I wasn't prepared for that. So the ability to identify everyone else's needs within that operation, and for me, again, I already said it's all about the liquids. But to get the liquids I want to produce, you need to identify possibly with the co-workers, co-owners, whatever they may be referred to, and how their cogs or how their things fit into the system. And so, anyhow, if the question was, what would I do different? That was what I would do different. I'd try to be more realistic about what I expect from the people to help me achieve the liquids I'm trying to produce in terms of how they can make it all work out. And so for me, it was about the liquids. I got so singular focused on that it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, everybody tells you when you're going through tough times, one day you'll look back on this and laugh. Like, no. Maybe smile a little bit, maybe, but yeah, laughing and the things you go through when you're bootstrapping a business. I've told this story before, but in the very early days, our very first, so we opened in June of 1988. By Christmas, or we're coming into the holiday season, fortunately, we had another drought, and there was not enough snow for Mount Bachelor to open at Thanksgiving, and we're looking at the holidays, and John Harris is the brewer, and John hates it when I tell this story, but he's not here. So we got the brewery had some design flaws, and we got an infection in the brew house. And we made 10 batches of beer that we got an infection that the 10 batches of beer we had to dump down the drain. Now we had no money. We didn't have reserves. We had a firm commitment we would never sell a beer that we weren't proud of. And that was the whole deal, is that, no, that was not good. Okay, dump it out. And John and I had a lot of late night conversations about, my God, what have I done? You know, I mean, I was still young at that point, but, you know, I had risked a substantial part of my parents' retirement. You know, I mean, most people in here understand that. You know, it's not about me. It's about all the people I made promises to. And, you know, we ended up figuring it out. But it's one of those times when they say, you know, you're going to look back on this one day and laugh. It's like, no, I've never looked back on that day and laughed. I'm proud of what we did. I'm proud of what John did. I'm proud of the way we ended up solving the problem. Now, there are lots of things I laugh about. Not that.
No, not funny. I'm sweating just thinking of it. Ryan, how about you?
I have a two-part question.
Great.
One's kind of simple and selfish. I know you guys are beer connoisseurs.
Selfish is good. There's nothing wrong with selfish.
What are you guys drinking?
I'm drinking this Silver Moon. It's a delicious Silver Moon lager.
Pilot Butte.
Pilot Butte.
Yeah,
The
Thank you
Brute
for
lager.
saying that, because
Recommended,
I got
light-
you.
light
Got you,
refreshing.
Gary.
You know, sometimes on the beer and the liquids themselves, sometimes they, not so much anymore, but look at brewers and sort of what we do is like making breweries and brewers want to have these huge, big, flavorful beers, but that's not exactly true. Very clean, very well balanced. Liquid is always enjoyable, and so this is a really well done beer. And
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't always have to be filled
at a
with hops,
certain
although-
level, these are harder to make than, you know, big IPAs and stouts and everything else, because when you got all that flavor in there, there's a lot of places for flaws to hide. When you kind of strip it down, it's got all
Well,
be there.
and if you're making something like Suge Knight, people get in trouble and they have to stop drinking it. I'm not saying I know that happened. I'm just saying I know that did happen, actually. There was a second
They
question
get in
you
trouble
had.
allegedly.
Get in trouble allegedly.
Allegedly.
People I heard have done this.
Yeah, so my second question is, as far as beer and trends, like, how do you make decisions between trying to be a trendsetter as a beer?
Oh, this is a great question for these two. So we're talking about beer and trends. How do you make decisions in terms of trends and to trend or to not to trend? I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Actually, it's an interesting subject, and I can speak. I mean, we actually talk about that quite a lot as a management team. And, you know, you want to be the trendsetter, right? But you can't ignore where the consumer goes. Ultimately, you know, when we were small and starting out, you know, and there were a lot of brewers in America that were talking, you know, we drink what we want and sell the rest. You know, there's all kinds of those kinds of slogans where, you know, it's about the beer, and I agree with Tony, it's about the beer. I would argue it's not about the beer, it's about the people. But it's actually tougher to draw that line. I mean, you don't want to ignore what the customer is telling you. And quite to the contrary, you must pay attention. But do we all want to be the first horse out of the gate and run all the way to the finish line without content? Of course we do. But that's really hard. And with 10,000 breweries all spinning out 30, 40, 50 beers a year, I mean, do the math. It's hard.
Are you tasting? Are you following those closely?
Are you following the trends and trying all this
As
stuff?
much as my liver will allow.
You know, I might try a slightly different approach on that, but you know, I'm old and stubborn, and I'm fortunate to travel the world and hang out with breweries all around, and what they're doing in Europe is completely different than what we're doing here. Not completely. They're trying to make, you know, American IPAs, but they've got their own take, and so many different things are happening around the world. But it is about liquids, and as the brewer in me, if I'm not chasing and attempting to manufacture liquids I'm inspired by, I'm interested in, I just don't think I'm going to get the results that I'm looking for. So what that means is, like, for example, I've never made a hazy IPA. You know, the consumer may want it, but I'm not interested in it, so I'm not going to go down that pathway and make one. I think from a business perspective, it's probably a mistake, but that's just, again, if I'm not that interested in it, then I'm not going to do the homework, I'm not going to perfect the style, so therefore I won't do it.
You're an artiste, Tony.
But what's really, I just want to touch on something Tony mentioned, which is kind of fascinating, because we all started way back when trying to create more of a European beer culture in America. I mean, American beers had become monolithic. You know, you were Bud Miller and Coors. They had kind of a very similar flavor palette. There wasn't a lot of variety. So we took our lessons from Great Britain, from Germany, from Czech Republic, from those places. What happened was American interpretations of their cultures became popular. And all of a sudden, those European breweries are now trying to imitate American IPA. I mean, it's ping pong across the Pacific or across the Atlantic. I mean, it's really a fascinating thing, but it's actually absolutely true.
Couldn't be any more true. Again, I travel the world, and what I'm seeing happening is when I worked the first time at Deschutes or with Gary in the 90s, all the literature and all the inspiration came from, you know, UK and Germany and things, and now they're all inspired by us, and what a difference a couple decades makes.
Jubile Ale, our first holiday seasonal, the word Jubile came from Jubel, which means to celebrate in German, and ale, which was the English, so it was a German-English conjunction that we made, and the beer was trying to blend those two holiday styles from Britain and Germany, and that was where we drew our inspiration.
Long live
at the time.
Jubile, such a great contribution.
I do think it's fun to add that it's every 10 years the game changes, and so 30 years ago is what we were trying to make then was exactly what we were supposed to be making, and somewhere in the last 15 years the game has flipped as the confidence and the morphs and the twists that the brewers are producing based off the origin styles have adapted, and it's just about adaptation.
Yeah.
And
What's really fascinating, it's fun to do to travel to Europe, and you find the Germans, who are fairly rigid, to say the least. You know, the German purity law of 1560 or whatever was created to say that beer can only be made from 4 ingredients, and we're over here putting everything, you know, whatever we want. You know, there's the McMenamins famous, you know, Mars bar incident where they in the early days they were touring some reporters through, and they say, oh, there was a mash going, and oh yeah, we can put anything in there. It's like, there's a candy bar here, throw it. And that the Mars Ale came from that. So, you know, we're Americans. We're you know.
Plaid shirt. What is one piece of advice someone had given you when you were early stage and you were getting ready to scale? What do you wish someone had told you? That's a great question.
It's interesting, and I thought about that in listening to two great presentations and really cool products and cool industries and cutting edge, and to me, they're a niche product in a niche industry. We were niche products in niche industries of our own, and the whole, to be overly simplistic is like stick to your quality angle. I mean, both you guys, all of you guys, girls, y'all. I don't know what you do now.
Yeah, all y'all is great.
But,
That's great.
no, but you both businesses had a firm commitment to a higher quality product. Don't lose that. There's going to be all kinds of pressure to compromise, to bring your price point down, to do all that kind of stuff. Your angle, because you're so small, the only way you can compete is to be better than everybody else.
This is so kind of strange to say, but my project was so scrappy that no one wanted to even give me advice. They just they're like, this is not gonna work. It was. So, I mean, it was against all odds, and so when you're that far to the left or whatever side you're any what have you, it really was such a strange project that it was against all odds and it was not supposed to work, and so I wasn't listening whatsoever because you had to, it just wasn't. You had to believe.
Yeah, well, you came on the scene in a really interesting moment in time where I think people were really thirsty for exactly what you brought. So good work trusting your higher self, Tony.
A little funny story. My partner Gretchen's over here, and she, we're together now, but like 12 years ago, she's like, was that your effing truck I just saw drive down the street in Portland? And so while I think our liquids are pretty good and our branding was a little edgy, but it is about, we got lucky with some timing as well.
Yeah.
Put the right liquid on the table at the right time, at the right culture. And so when our truck was rolling down the street in Portland with all these, the questionable branding images that were not typical of the craft beer space, but the consumer was ready for that. They were ready for a new take on things. So well, I think we put some good liquids on the table. We also just got lucky. Right place, right time with the right thing.
There is nothing, and I've said this 1,000 times since we started the brewery, there is nothing that beats being in the right place at the right time.
Hit me.
What's your two most favorite beers or experiences in enjoying your beverage?
What are your two most favorite beers or experience enjoying your beverage?
And then a biz dev question.
Biz dev.
What would you have changed in the recent partnership between the two of you with Boneyard and Deschutes?
What would you have changed in the recent partnership between the two of you with Boneyard and Deschutes?
Well, the partnership hasn't gone on too long. I think, we're still learning about each other, but I can tell you, and I mentioned it earlier, I think what Deschutes is getting from Boneyard is invaluable right now, and that's going to go on for a while. As far as, beer and experiences, you asked the question a little different. I'm thinking, oh God, here it comes again. What's your favorite beer? But it's very cool, and I have my theory, and the people that know me know it's time and place. It is the most remarkable experiences I've had. If I'm not a big Guinness lover. Guinness is fine. There's nothing wrong with the beer. It's good. But Guinness in the around the world bar on top of the brewery in Dublin, Ireland, is freaking unbelievable. And I'm not a big Rauch beer, smoked beer fan, but in Bamberg, standing outside Ex-Schlenkerla on the cobblestone streets, drinking a pint of smoked Bock, it's like magic. magic. And it happens, I mean, it happens, you could do it at a distillery, at a winery, you know, but there are times when you want to package that moment and be able to take it home with you so that you can pull it out once in a while and remember.
For me, quickly on the beer side, absolutely speak to what Gary says, as well as what rabbit hole I'm going down currently on my quest as a liquid producer. Like, you know, this IPA, this thing, and so, you know, recently we were down in Oakland, in fact, and been hearing about Ghost Town Brewing, and I walked into Ghost Town, and so, you know, I identify with their culture and who they are, and you know, what have you, but the IPAs they're producing just blew me away. And I'm an IPA guy from beginning to end, and so, you know, it's always a little bit of time and place, as Gary speaks, but that was the most recent experience that I just walked away going, taking notes, taking those screenshots, and going like, hey guys, check it out. And as far as the other component, you know, I think there's some of the other people on stage this evening looking for strategic partnerships and stuff, and it can be absolutely amazing. It will change your, you know, for me, I'm super excited not to be the HR department anymore, or sign the checks, and create lots of opportunity.
We got you covered.
I think that's a really, really beautiful place for us to say, are there any final things that you want to add to any of this? I think we could keep going for hours, but both of what you just shared was so lovely.
I do. Thank you, Gary. I mean, we've been running around for 30-something years now. It is a true full circle story. It's absolutely, for those of you that weren't there, Cassie, you were there. It's kind of, you know, you hear about it, you read about it, but it is an absolute amazing craft beer story. It's an amazing Ben story, and it's an amazing story for this gentleman right here, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks. But it goes, for me, it goes deeper than that, because, you know, when the student becomes the teacher, you know you've really fully kind of done it. And that's what I'm experiencing right now.
We rehearsed this an hour ago, by the way.
I mean, for my part, I just want to say, my grandma's 89. She hasn't left her room for 6 months. And the two of you up here, 99 and 100, absolutely smashing it. It's amazing. You guys are killing it. Truly an honor to have you both here. And there's no way we could really track the ripples that you all have added to our community in a variety of different ways. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us. And keep going. We support you 100%.
Thank you all.
Stay thirsty.
And we have a gift. I got a PubTalk mug for you, so you can bring this back, this giant stein, and we will fill it up with whatever liquid you are craving at the moment. So bring it back. There you go. There we go. I hope somebody's getting a picture of this. I mean, Gary Fish and Tony Lawrence. Keep it going for Gary and Tony. We got it.
Dropping the mic is just
You dropped the mic several times. How about another round of applause for Gary Fish and Tony Lawrence? My friends, this summer, watch out for the following. Now, PubTalk goes on a little bit of a break. We will be back in September, so don't panic. The Bend Venture Conference call for company applications is coming next month, so tell your startup friends to watch for applications to open shortly after July 4th. BBC investors will be gathering for a kickoff reception to hear what's in store for BBC 2022. Contact Deanne Buck at EDCO to learn more about the event. EDCO's annual meeting is about inked is just about inked. So EDCO members, watch your inboxes for an invitation and join us as our guests to celebrate, meet our new EDCO team members, and hear what is going on for EDCO and for the region. Okay, so PubTalk is back in September. That's the big one where we determine our Ben Venture Conference early stage finalists, so make sure you join us in September. And last but certainly not least, the Ben Venture Conference itself is scheduled for October 20th to 21st. It is the largest angel conference in the West. It is a not to be missed event. So months of application review, company pitches, investor due diligence meetings, determining the finalists will take the Tower Theater stage. I hope you are all there. A reminder, there's trivia outside if you're not ready to go home yet. Thank you for coming to PubTalk. Thank you, Silver Moon, and special thanks to each of our presenters, especially Tony Lawrence and Gary Fish. I'm Shannon Kelly. See you next time. Have a great summer, y'all. Don't honk your horn. Don't honk your horn.